creators at times fail to understand how that algorithm works. And the moment you understand, you can really use it to your advantage in a very ethical way, in a manner which is a win-win deal for all the. I like to put it in a different way. I've always realized for the past 11 years of being an entrepreneur that all the profit, no matter wherever you go, is in the detail. And B, I'm not at all data driven. I zero, I'm completely intuitive. And for me, there is only one way to live, which
So, hey Nikunj, welcome to the podcast.
hi, Manchu. Thank you very much. It's for having me.
The classic thing that every podcast does.
uh, yeah, I think so. It's kind of, but I mean it.
All right.
Yeah, because this is my first. I've never done this before.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you are building in creators, and you have not done any podcast before, right?
yeah, man. No, I think one or two people invited me, and then I kind of forgot to follow up. But you was like, "Let's do it this weekend." I said okay, and some of them had sent me something like a questionnaire. I'm like, what? You don't prepare for meetings, man.
Yeah. Especially when you are having conversations.
Exactly. It is, so yeah, that kind of scared the shit out of me.
Getting it. So you are exclusive on my podcast now, right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. These conversations are kind of exclusive so far.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool.
And
So
also, when we met in person, I like the vibe, it just so it gives you a different level of comfort with
yeah.
you.
Same like dude, when we met, it was for me like most chill out entrepreneur plus investor I have ever seen.
That's kind of you to say. That's too kind.
Yeah, that what I figured out, because most of the people I met, like, they are entrepreneurs, they are like always hustling kind of stuffs, and that you are also hustling kind of things, but you also have another side that's chill out, that kind of a thing, like that,
Yeah.
although you may hustle, but yeah, we will cover that in ahead in the podcast.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
So I'll give you like why we do this podcast, why
Yeah.
I do this podcast, so that you have a brief understanding, like why we are doing this, why we are having this conversation. So I started this podcast for primarily two reasons. Uh, First is, like, I'll be very honest over here. Like, first is, you cannot speak to great people if you cannot add value to them. So
Yeah.
podcast is one of the measure to add value to them, so that it's a both way. So I can also learn from them, and concurrently they add the value through the social media presence that they get.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the first is this, and the second was, like, I saw a lot of podcasts. I see a lot of podcasts, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's Ranveer Alapadhyaya, whether it's Raj Shamani, whether it's Nawal, whether it's anyone out there.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of podcasts. So what I figured this out is that everyone brings people who are after a certain stage in their
Mm-hmm.
journey.
Mm-hmm.
So what I figured out is, like, while I was building previously, so problems occur at every stage,
Yeah.
despite what you have achieved or what you have not. So I try to bring people over here at every stage, so that they can find, building a directory where if you are stuck at any stage in your journey, you will find it over here.
That's a
Solution.
beautiful perspective. Yeah, I hear you. I get it. It
So
makes a lot of sense.
that's what the motive behind, and yeah, like that's why we started. So yeah,
Yeah,
moving
in
ahead.
fact, if I were you, I would put it the other way. Just feature craziness on your podcast at whatever stage it is. When you meet craziness, you know it is craziness. And yeah, original craziness is beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's like generating new craziness every time, and you just text it out.
Exactly. Honest virgin craziness is just beautiful. Original, honest craziness.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, like, I have a specific, like, this coming to what you have built. So the audience might not be aware you have built certain apps. You have top 30
Yeah.
under 30,
Yeah.
and have achieved most of the things. Like, most of the people are not. So that's the things that audience can also check over LinkedIn, but for the conversation part over here, we'll talk like you build as like really intrigued while we were having conversation in Bangalore. Also, we talked about this. You build app opener, all right, open an app.
Open
So
an app.
yeah,
App opener is actually a competitor.
oh, got it. I'm like confused a bit.
No problem. No problem.
Open an app, all right.
Yeah, that's ours.
So these kind of a problems, what I consider these people who find it out these problems are, they are highly data driven. First thing. Second thing, they know the difference between a daily life and problem solving,
Hmm.
because certain problems are like that because people do not see them as a problem because they become a part of a daily life. So I guess this open an app is a similar kind of a stuff.
Yeah, I like to put it in different way. I've always realized for the past 11 years of being an entrepreneur that all the profit, no matter wherever you go, is in the detail. And B, I'm not at all data driven. I zero, I'm completely intuitive. And for me, there is only one way to live, which is to always be offering the best possible human experience in any moment, no matter where you are, what you're doing, right?
Mm,
And if you're on your social media and if you're tapping on a link, it is exceptionally substandard experience no matter where you go. You tap a link in Instagram, on YouTube, Reddit, Quora, Pinterest, Twitter, I don't care. Wherever you will experience for yourself. You just had a very substandard experience. That is not cool by any stretch of imagination. For example, you put this thing out there, this podcast out there, in your description, you'll put in a link of my LinkedIn profile, right? Or my Twitter profile, and they'll probably not open
mm,
inside LinkedIn or inside Twitter, where I'm already logged in. It'll probably open in some random web page in LinkedIn and it'll say, okay, if you want to connect to Nikunj, you'll probably have to sign up and shit like that. That's bullshit. That is a broken user experience, and we're sitting in 2022, man. This is not how it should be. It's just happening because of immense amount of greed of some companies,
that
right? Those companies are amazing companies. We use their products in our everyday life, and we're extremely grateful for them for building what they've done for us, right? But at some places, some of those business decisions are leading to very bad experiences for all their users, right? And that is, that they want their consumer. So they are public companies and they want to report in their quarterly filings the amount of time users spent in their apps on a quarterly basis. And what's the easiest hack to increase that time? That whatever links the user is opening, make them open inside your own app, so
mm,
that that time which user is not spending in your app or interacting with the content in your app is also considered as
yeah,
time being spent inside your app.
got it. That
That's
will be
that's
considered
funny.
DA. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're reporting these two, three metrics, right? DAU, right?
Mm,
And amount of average time spent per session, right? And that average time of session is a metric they're trying to maximize, and they found this beautiful hack to maximize it. But
mm,
that's not cool. Yeah, yeah, it's cool for your business reporting and for your investors when they see this in quarterly filings, but not cool for us as consumers. I want to interact with, maybe I want to just connect with Nikunj, maybe I just want to follow him on Twitter, but I cannot do that. I didn't
yeah.
find that very cool, man. So I was sitting and chilling with tons of creators, and that's where the problem came out when we saw that they so if you talk to creators, you'll realize most of them you'll see that they have the ratio between their Instagram to YouTube followings is between 5x to 10x, or maybe even more, 20x, right? So what I'm trying to say is, if you have about 100,000 followers on Instagram, you'll probably have 5,000 followers in YouTube, despite the fact that you are probably sharing link to every single video you ever post in your bio on Instagram, or maybe even in stories. Then how does that happen? Why are your Instagram users not following you on YouTube? That makes no sense, literally, right? You
Mm,
want to have that fixed. How do you get that fixed is through this,
mm,
okay, so the question is, why are they not following you? Just give me a sec.
sure.
Okay, yeah. So, so why are they not able to convert their Instagram followers into YouTube followers? Is for this reason, that those
Mm,
links are not opening in the YouTube, not opening anywhere where they could follow them. Right? They're not
yeah,
only opening a place where I can follow them. That's not cool. That's just not
yeah.
cool by any stretch of imagination. You want you if I'm following you, Himanshu, I've tapped on a link. Like the content. I want to consume the content in its best possible way, which is in a full screen mode. I cannot do that. And even if I happen to consume that content in a painful manner, right? I cannot like it, comment on it, or follow you. That's not
mm,
cool. So we said let's change it, and uh, and we built this micro tool. It's not rocket science, right?
exactly.
It's basic. It's very basic. Uh, Anybody could do it in probably a week or two. Obviously, to do it right consistently and consider all the 100,000 edge cases takes about a year. Every
Mm,
now and then we come across new edge cases, but to be able to do it right consistently is, I think, with thanks to our users and thanks to the feedback we've been getting from people, we've been able to do it fairly well.
yeah.
OpenInApp, as we speak today, has crossed more than 135 million plus redirects, and all of that, we've had more than, I think, 180,000 registered users. We've had 50,000 plus creators use the platform, and all of that stuff. Uh,
That's
what I was
that's
saying is, um,
crazy.
yeah, what I was saying is, we've been able to do all of this without spending a penny in business development or marketing,
Mm,
to the extent that we don't even put out reels on our own Instagram channel consistently. That's something I'm not proud of, but that's something we're very ashamed of, but speaks a bit about how the product has been appreciated by the community. You know,
yeah.
is And we are extremely grateful for the love that we have received from huge people, from huge celebrities and very big personalities we are in awe of, personalities we are very grateful for having existed on this planet,
Mm,
and we are grateful for them depositing their trust in us and using it. Yeah, I think.
that's so true. Yeah, because why I see Open in app is a really cool thing because we were also discussing one thing that I told you about that stuff. That we were building, trying to build it out. So I was really inspired by these kind of business models that that takes a weeks to build out, but this solves really a critical problem that are there in that, and that is not easily recognizable by anyone else. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So yeah, that's really intrigued me, and
but
also that yeah.
keep going, sorry.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Himanshu.
As you also said, like attention is in detail. I was also having a conversation with one of the other guys. I guess he was like the founder of Pharmacy.
Okay.
So he also said like what why startups succeed, because whenever you scale at large, the larger companies have to look for larger audiences and they have to compromise on details over there.
Yeah,
So that where the opportunity comes in.
absolutely. I would say, all profit is in detail. All the profit is in. So yeah, he's bang on target. That's true, and this is precisely what we're trying to do with Open App now. We are trying to convert this into a suite of creator tools or creator growth tools, to be specific. Which help these creators crack distribution, because that is the toughest problem in their life, and as in not toughest, but that is a problem which very few people are also solving for. So if you look closely at a creator has three problems in their life. Content creation, content distribution, content monetization. Content
Hmm.
creation is a problem that platforms like the distribution platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok are handling firsthand. They This is their fundamental innovation to a large extent, now at least. If you look at Instagram, especially, that they are trying to make it easier and easier for these people to create better content, right? They are trying to help them through creating these tools. And the third is created monetization, is that you have huge number of these beautiful agencies in the country, influencer marketing agencies and so on, who are hell bent on helping these creators make most possible money from brands. So that is happening, but it is the middle layer, where a creator is always wondering that, okay, now I've created this beautiful piece of content. How do I get this distributed? How do I get it viral? How do I get 10 million
Hmm.
people to view this piece of content? And that is where we come in. So we have identified a set of best practices to follow, which will not ensure that you go viral, but will increase the probability by maximum possible percentage.
Got it.
right? And those tools that are those tools we are building on, and for each of these platforms, now those best practices obviously vary from platform to platform, right? For Instagram is which is after, I'm talking about the after you've created the content, for that process. So Instagram has its own set of guidelines, the best practices. YouTube has its own set of best practices, and so on. And we are helping creators. We're now building tools which help creators identify and adhere to these best practices in least possible pain,
Mm,
because we are not expecting content creators to identify and master these practices, right? We're saying let us do it for them. Your job is one, to create content, and let the magic happen after that, you know
yeah, that's true.
you know
That's
and that's what you're trying to help them with. So your job is to create a beautiful podcast. Can we help you create the ideal title for it? Can we help you create the ideal description for it? Can we help you create um, um, the ideal thumbnail for it, which helps you get maximum views or searchability? That is
mm,
our job. That is not your expertise, and we don't want you to take the pain of mastering it, because that's a completely different science altogether.
yeah, that's true.
So
That's
that's
true.
the reason.
I can say like uh, I can understand it. My few audience might not be, because it really takes a huge chunk of time and
Exactly.
a lot of research. That even thumbnails took
Exactly.
a lot of research.
Exactly, and that is extremely critical. If you're a
Yeah.
YouTuber, there are only two things that matter to you to fix your distribution. Your CTR and AVD. What percentage of your people are clicking on your thumbnail, if it goes in their feed, and if they click on it, what percentage of the video they are completing on an average. Like as an aggregate level.
100%.
So we're saying we'll help you figure out. We'll give you, from your data itself, we'll give you the best practices to maximize these two things. And the moment you do that, you become Mr. Beast.
Mm,
That's the
that's true.
difference between you and Mr. That's the difference between any creator and Mr. Beast. He's just infinitely more focused on these two parameters than everybody else. And we're saying it may not be so easy and natural for everybody else to do it. So we'll help you maximize those things
Yeah.
while
He
you do your natural magic, the
he's
magic that is
also
natural
know
to
the
you.
art of delegating that most people don't. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And we're saying that part of magic we know, right? For example, we are now training an AI to help you generate the most beautiful thumbnail for your video. As in not the most beautiful, but the thumbnail that will get you the maximum possible CTR without being clickbaity.
Mm, got it. Got it. That's really cool. Would be very helpful. I'll definitely take that up.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. And now, so now
You
next
can,
to OpenInApp, you have been building like listed.
yeah, yeah.
So what I see it common in, before going to it, like just brief if you can, like a bit listed for the audience.
Absolutely, 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 Himanshu. Thank you. So, Himanshu, so we are as tech entrepreneurs, and to be very honest, if you're a tech entrepreneur, let's say from IIT, IM, ISB, and so on, or BITS and so on, you say I have an idea and so on, and and you probably land up at least $500,000 in less than a month.
Mm,
There is so much capital available for tech entrepreneurs, while I believe there's hardly any capital, and which is true also actually, there is hardly any capital available for these individual creators, for these content creators, right? And if you look closely, I feel there's not a lot of fundamental difference between these two people and us. These people, between us and them, they are, it's just that their medium of expression is through content, while our medium of expression is through, let's say, technology. That's the fundamental difference. That's about it, But they are taking as much risk as us, and they have as much growth potential as us. Now probably not at scale, but definitely at speed. you know so what we figured out is, why is it that these people do not have any access to capital? Okay, the only probably difference is, I'll tell you the other difference is, that we are looking for $100 million checks, and they're not looking for $100 million checks. They're looking for probably 1 million rupee checks. While we need.
or $100 million, 100 million views.
Exactly. That's very beautifully put. They're just looking for 100 million views, not $100 million. That's the difference between them, between us and them. And hence, okay, I do understand that maybe it'll not make a lot of sense for institutions to write checks for them, but that does not deny the fact that they need capital. Like, all capital can accelerate their businesses. They don't have access to that capital right now, and if they could get access to that capital, it'll be fantastic. And they have people who understand their businesses and they have people, especially like angels, who can write checks for them. And if you look, and this is exactly what we're doing at Listed. So, oh yeah, what we're trying to do is we're creating a to begin. We've created a creator syndicate where people from the creator economy or enthusiasts like you and me write checks for these creators, right? And we are not writing crazy checks. We don't have a lot of money. We're writing small checks like 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees. In return, people who write these checks get access to that creator's income for a certain period of time. Let's say, for example, I love your podcast, right? I think I see that potential is going to blow up, the way you're conducting it. So what I'll come and say, Himanshu, can I write that 5 lakh to be checked for you, which will get you access to a micro team, a team of interns, and so on. A basic set of equipment, and it'll probably give you 12 months, 18 months of runway, right? Which increases your probability of success significantly. In return, I say, Himanshu, whatever you make in the next 10 years or 5 years, give me 20% of that. And for you it's not a bad deal, because you need that access to capital, you need that access to runway right now. And for you and all of us know, in content, runway is most critical. If you're
Yeah.
doing good content, you're going to blow up. The only difference is that nobody on this planet knows when you're going to blow up. Is it going to be a fifth video, 50th video, or 500th video?
Hmm.
So if you have that runway, your probability of going viral increases. Yeah. And obviously, if you know you're going to do 500 videos and you increase the quality of content by even 1% every video, you've already topped.
Yeah.
That's where we are helping these people. That okay, I'll give you these micro 5 lakh to 10 lakh rupee checks, aggregated from the best of the industry, right? What that means is, who are these people who are investing? These are four kinds of people, who understand these creators best, which is mega creators themselves, right? Anybody who's a huge podcast themselves, and maybe then we will probably write a check for you, right? That's an ideal guy to write because he understands podcasting. Maybe Raj Shamani understands podcasting, so he's the ideal guy to write a check for you. A, mega creators themselves. B, agency owners. All these agency owners making tons and tons of money, and have a huge amount of understanding of how this industry works, of how the growth potential of creators, the income potential of creators is understood by them better than anybody else. Third, these are CMOs of brands, right? These are another people who've been paying a huge amount of money from their pockets to creators, so they understand the income potential of these guys. And fourth, are stupid people like me, people in the creator, people who are building, let's say, startups or tools around the creator economy, who are also trying to understand the creators from their mindset, who are enthusiasts. So yeah, so we're saying we will get you that 5 lakh, 10 lakh rupees of initial capital from people like these, and that obviously comes with huge amount of free access and guidance. Because if
Yeah.
you have Ranveer Alabadia's or Raj Shamani's check in your bank account, he's gonna help you. He's gonna pick your phone once in a while, and give you that advice. Hey, Mach, can you do a bit of this versus that, which is invaluable
That's
for you, which is just priceless.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking was because there are see. First of all, I haven't seen any creator syndicate yet. Secondly, the other syndicates that are over there that I have seen, they may be their creators, but I have not seen yet. You recently announced one, so I saw it for the first time. And secondly, uh, the thing that you how you have compiled it up, having all the people who actually doesn't only bring the check, but also the value attached to it. That's really interesting because yeah, there are a lot more people, a lot money lying in the market, but to whom you have to take it, it matters a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Money without conviction has still a huge amount of value, but it can have even more value. It comes with conviction and experience. And we are not doing anything which is different or rocket science. We're doing it the way which is the only right way to do it. If you look closely, that's the same thing happened with technology startups. So the first people who created the unicorns of the tech industry were actually the first investors, were the first angel investors. And when they made tons of money on when they made 100x's on their capital, on their micro checks, that's when these things became commonplace, or let's say dinner table conversations. And
Mm.
when that happened, that's when the retailers or the other people joined in the party. If you
Yeah.
look closely, first the AngelList was created and Let's Venture was created, and it existed for 8-10 years, and then the Tides and the Satiks of the world came in, right? So the first people
Yeah.
to invest in blockchain were people who understood the technology, and then when everybody got to know that they had 100x their money by buying a piece of Bitcoin, that's when everybody else came in. That's
Yeah.
exactly what will happen here. First, for the first 3 years, 2 years, these will be the early adopters. The risk takers. And when stories of risk takers 5xing, 10xing their money in 3 years, 5 years, go public, go viral, that's when the retailers or the fans will come in. But I'll tell you the beauty, Himanshu. The beauty is the fact that there are 8 billion people on this planet, and there are no more than 8 million who understand how stocks are valued,
Hmm.
right? There are no
True.
more than 80,000 people who understand the difference between Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, and Solana. Despite the fact that there are 300 million people who have invested their hard-earned money in cryptocurrencies. While, on the contrary, out of those 8 billion people, each one of those understands or knows how to evaluate a person sitting on the other end. They know, is this person going to do big in life or not? Is he How talented is he? How much hunger does he have in his stomach? And see, can I trust him with money? Some of those traits are honed, they're written in our DNA. They're part of our bloodstream. Mother Nature has been honing that capabilities of evaluating other humans or other species, living creatures, for the last 5 million years, to say the least. It needs no special training.
That's 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 interesting. Yeah.
If you look at another 20 podcasters, you'll be able to tell, which two or three of them will actually do fantastically well in future, and which 16 will probably not flourish, right?
Yeah.
If you ask my mother, you give her 20 cooking channels, she'll tell you which three actually tell the best way will do well, because that's her expertise that she's developed just by consuming content of that particular specific genre, right? It requires no special training whatsoever. And Himanshu, the joy that a human gets by making money from their own conviction is absolutely unparalleled. The confidence booster, the self belief it boosts in any human, it is priceless. If you gave your mother 5,000 bucks, and she put it in, let's say, two YouTubers, and even if she doubled that money, that money is not a lot. That money is nothing for your family, right? But that money will mean the most to her.
Yeah.
The joy it will give your mother is because she made that money with her own beliefs, with her own conviction,
Yeah.
without any third party external assistance. And all of us have that capability.
That's true.
And all of us want to experience that feeling. So
That's
we try to accelerate or enable that feeling. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I know it'll take me maybe 8 to 10 years to get there, for your and my mother to start actually investing in their favorite budding creators.
mm,
But that's where I want it to be. For
got it.
all 4 billion people on YouTube, I want to give them this as not a place of entertainment or learning, but also as a place where they can earn while they're consuming content.
That's so cool because first of all, uh, I'll talk about uh, like there's this really insightful plus the vision that's over there. That's really cool. But as of now, we have done a conversation like for the audience. I would tell if the audience is missing one thing or two things that I am looking at right now. I'm seeing this as three things. Like one is the insights that you hold and the clarity. That's truly amazing, right? The audience must be getting that. But the other thing is how you present it. It really becomes interesting. And even though suppose if if there's a person who is not much excited about this thing, he will just say, hey man, creator में पैसा डालना है, इतना डालना है, तुम डालोगे क्या, ऐसा हम बना रहे हैं. And whereas the other side is like the interest that is shown, like
That is kind. That is very kind of you to say that. But Himanshu, actually, I am that genuinely that passionate. The two reasons I'm genuinely that passionate, and most of my team is actually. And B, I think it is not about investing in creators. It is about a revolution that we are starting. That you can invest in fellow humans, right? That all of us can get a stake in the people that we believe in. And consequently, all of us help each other grow. I do not know what can be more beautiful. And obviously, Himanshu, I want you to grow, right? And you want me to grow. but that has no meaning if I cannot help you grow. And what is the best way to ensure that I actively help you grow is that if I if it if 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 that is incentivized for me, if I
Yeah,
get a micro nano stake in your growth, then my and your interests are principally aligned, and that
exactly.
is when magic happens. I'll give you an example. So so it is. I'll share you a very personal story. I come from a very middle class background. And my father had osteoporosis. I had ankylosing spondylitis which became osteoporosis to the extent that he got bedridden when I was 4. I
Okay.
was their eldest son, and when I was just 4, he got bedridden. He could not move out of home. It means he could not be do into a gainful employment, and he used to run a small business and SME. And he would have to go to of supplying inks to printing machines. So he would have to go to printing presses to be able to sell them inks. But if he got bedridden, how would he go? It's not like he had 10 people employed under him. It was probably one or two people show. Maybe he was alone. He was actually a solopreneur, right? I'm talking about 1993. Now, and when I was growing up and stuff like that, so I have an uncle. He's fairly rich and he loves my father and me, and he wanted to help me. As in, like, when I'd grown up and I had to go to coaching, to take coaching for preparing for ITJ. He had to cough up a lot of money. That is more than what he earned in a couple of months from whatever little income our family had. And obviously my uncle wanted to help my father. He had tons of money, and he wanted to do it without insulting him, because my father was fairly self. He would not ask for help. He did not know how to ask for help.
Yeah,
That's how fathers
then
are. There's just nothing special. So how do you solve this problem? So while what we are doing is solves this problem, that my uncle could help me today, using listed, without disrespecting my father. It's not help anymore. It says, okay, let me write a check for him, and in return, you give me 5% of whatever he makes in the next 10 years. In this way, he'll be able to repay me. So
yeah,
I'm not belittling you. So he's not belittling me or my father, right? And becomes a fair arrangement. And it's
yeah,
not even a loan that I have to repay back. And it's not a stress on my head. If I don't do well in my life, it's a loss. That's acceptable. And that's acceptable to him as well, right? So it does not give me the stress of a loan, right? While at the same time, so I'll give you a better example, and it's not for people who are looking for money. For example, you come from a very good family, like a very wealthy family, and you want to become an astrophysicist, right? And you identify these 2 3 people, who are, let's say, working at SpaceX and NASA and so on, and you get access to them, and you want them to help you in the next 10 years of your career, right? How do you lock them in? How do you
mm,
make sure that you're not begging for their time every time? And you just say those each of those 3 people that whatever I'm going to do make in the next 10 years or 15 years, you take 1% of that.
yeah,
You don't know need money, but now with that 1% you have locked them in. Now you have probably, with that agreement, you have earned the right to, let's say, half an hour of their time once every month, once every quarter, for that next 5 years or 3 years or 10 years. Now that's a beautiful arrangement between 2 people. It's a very symbiotic arrangement. It's nobody's getting conned or scammed, or no, it's not a bitter deal for anybody.
yeah.
And
That's
you have figured out a way to get access to the best of the best, guidance that you could have imagined,
mm,
and you don't know how to do it right now.
mm, that's so.
And that's what we're trying to enable in the long run.
Mm, that's really cool. You know how you are shaping up the new things, investing. I have thought this up, like talked with few people like few months back, but frankly saying out, none of them were building that stuff. They were like, "This is cool shit," but yeah,
Yeah.
okay, this is cool.
And I'm not doing it for the coolness, man. I
Yeah,
I want to really impact it. I this is it's I just said, this is
yeah,
something I've suffered. I
yeah.
felt it's a part of who I am. Maybe this is what inspires me to do this. you know can
That's
we help each other without while incentivizing it for it, because help is a very weak relationship. It's a very, it's in tough times is the first thing that goes out of the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most talented people on the planet are shit at asking help, and they're the ones who actually need it, because they are the ones, if given help to, can actually create the maximum impact under the sun.
100%. That's true. That's true. That's true. Like you have been doing like craziest things in the creator space, and priorly you were in PWs. Yeah. So tell us about like let's have been talking about like the people who want to since startup who want to learn from your journey. Now let's talk about the creators who are there and how they can scale up, since you have been into this creator space, and I believe that you know bits and pieces of it which people
Uh,
lack that can scale their growth.
So yeah, that's a very good one, Himanshu. If you look, so the answers. So to be very honest, with no disrespect to anybody, but these algorithms that these platforms have created, Instagram, are very good algorithms. They're perfect. If not perfect, they're fantastic, and they make a huge amount of logical sense. The point is that unfortunately, a lot of creators. At times fail to understand how that algorithm works, and the moment you understand, you can really use it to your advantage in a very ethical way, in a manner which is a win-win deal for all the three parties: you as a creator, the platform, and the consumer. I'll tell you what that means. Okay, let's take each case in point and let's get to the detail. Let's talk about Instagram, right? If you're posting a reel on Instagram, if you're posting content on Instagram, you need to understand what is it that one parameter that I'm maximizing for. That you can Each reel can actually be maximized for four critical parameters, which is after okay, I've consumed your reel as a consumer, right? You created a reel, I consumed it, but how does the platform Instagram as an algorithm understand that was it a good reel or a bad reel? Did Nikunj feel good about it after consuming it or not? Would Nikunj like to consume more of it tomorrow or not? Or would more people like Nikunj want to consume it or not? Right? What signal does the platform go? It's not reading my face, right? So the way the platform gets to know about that is by through an input from my side. And what are those inputs? You know, did I complete it? Did I watch it in full? B, did I like it? Did I comment on it? Did I save it? Or did I DM to the creator immediately after viewing it? You know, those are five possible signals, and these are in increasing order of strength of a signal. If I completed it, then okay, Nikunj kind of liked it on a 6 out of 10. If Nikunj liked it, it's probably 7 on 10. If Nikunj commented, it's probably 8 on 10. If Nikunj saved it, it's probably again 8 on 10, or probably 9 on 10. But if Nikunj immediately DM'd the creator after watching the video, after watching the reel, he fucking loved it. That's 10 on 10, right? So as a creator, what I'm trying to say is you got to understand which one of these single parameters or signal positive feedback are you optimizing, maximizing your reel for?
I'm getting over here is like the
Like to
key
reach ratio,
that's
comment to
key
reach ratio, or comment
not
to view ratio.
that's the key over there. I think like most of the creator aim to get 100 million views, 200 million views, but the point is they should be looking for things like creating such a content that people reach out directly to them for by after viewing that content, and rest is about
Exactly.
the platform, like how they will be reaching out 100 million.
Precisely. It's like, is it a piece of content you consume and forget about it after 30 seconds or 5 seconds? Or is it a piece of content that leads to something more meaningful? That just doesn't end there, you know? And it and maybe, like, we have done these experiments with creators, and we've seen the numbers go up the charts like crazy, even if you can. So but if I'm a creator creating a piece of content that's supposed to real, I need to know other classes, I need to know which of these one single parameters or ratios am I maximizing it for in a natural and ethical manner, right? Is it gonna get me? am I maximizing for like to view ratio, or is it comment to view ratio, or is it a save to view ratio, or is it DM to view ratio? And it works, and it's a win-win for everybody. You want to create meaningful impact.
What my brain is, yeah, right now try to digest is that means that most of the creators are running behind those things which are not in control of those.
Precisely. And those who understand this, for them it's a path to predictive success. It's a journey to predictive success. You can
Hmm.
predict it.
You talked about like creating such a content that people engage with. So how people can create such a content that is there any something like I know like
Of course,
yeah.
of course, I'll give you a few examples. This the I'm forgetting the name of creators. Like you can create so it's a way you package the content. So there's content, and then there's packaging also. There's presentation also. So for example, if I'm just creating content on let's say how to dress up for your weekend date, let's say, or I can create it in a manner which is timeless, right? And five beautiful tips to prepare for that amazing date. So that is something which is slightly more savable, you know so you just so instead of me just putting out the content like, okay, how to, like, okay, maybe this is the best way to do your eyelashes, or this is the best way to figure out the matching sandals to your dress and so on, versus me putting it in the manner that will add value perpetually, that will suit, that will have meaning for a lot of varied use cases, and I would want to save it for myself, which is more like a template, you know more like a framework, you know
That can be applied in different
I'll
situations.
give you an example. So we're working with this creative Shivansh, and he gives very direct actionable insights. So he says, okay, I'm I'm going to tell you that I'm just not going to tell you and stop at saying that, okay, that the best way to figure out a right career path for you is to figure out your passion. But he'll go on to say that if you really want help in figuring out your passion, DM me,
Hmm.
right? And he'll say, if you DM me, my team will get in touch with you, and we're setting up a weekend class, for all those people who are interested in figuring out their passion. And he'll do a Zoom webinar with them, with those 100 people or 200 people every damn weekend, and do live workshops and exercises to help them figure out their passion. You know, and that has really worked for him, because that is not just a reel. That is more than that. That is a way of communicating something more meaningful.
Think that platform to communicate is a both way process, whereas
Exactly.
other people are just using it as a speech or a distribution like
You have nailed it, Himanshu. You have nailed it. Like, a dialogue is always much more superior than a monologue, in most cases.
okay. Yeah, got it. Okay,
And
that's
in
cool.
the same way, you can do it for YouTube, for example. So for YouTube, there are two things that matter. As I think we discussed this, CTR and AVD, right? How what how good is your CTR, and if your CTR is good, then what is the completion rate on your video? Out of 100 people, let's say, how many of them kind of completed it, or what is the what is the average percentage viewing time of that video? Not in terms of total, like, percentage, like, and that's what matters, that do people, if after clicking on, did they found it clickbaity, or did they finally ended up consuming the whole of it? And that's the best possible signal, and obviously after that you can add signals like liking and commenting it, you know so that's about it. It's not that complicated.
True, that's really true. Like, there is also like I was having a conversation with a team member of Andrew Kirby, if you know him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going.
So we were discussing like how anyone can start with like content and what the three things matter. He asked me like this: what are the three things matters that according to you? And my question was like answer was like consider it like a D2C product. Uh, how much value that suppose there is a soda that we are selling, and is that soda is liked by the audience, it tastes good, That is the quality of content that you are bringing up.
Yeah, yeah,
Then whether it's packed good, whether I'll pick it up in the shelf or not. That's
exactly.
the thumbnail and the title that you are bringing up.
Precisely. That's it. That's about it. You
And
have
the
nailed it.
third is the like that most people forgot about. Is it placed in the right shelf? Because people won't reach out if it's in the wrong shelf.
That's about it. That's precisely it. That's
So
that's what we discussed: title, thumbnail, description, and the quality of the content. That's about it. It's not rocket science. The platform is with you. He's trying to help these consumers con- discover and consume the best possible content.
yeah, even of I see like early creators, even I when I was starting up, I started as a creator in like my 16 years old when I was like or in my
Wow.
10th. So we used to see like the platform as a foe to us. They are our enemy. Like we
Yeah,
have to go and but
that's
as
not the
we
case.
grow, as we bring up more content, it's like they're not foe, rather they are trying to promote us, but the way is
Exactly.
like the difference. We have to get through the way and figure out the things how we can go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
That's so cool. And what are the things that you feel like the creators go wrong while creating it?
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I love them so much. I can't say of other things that go wrong. I think they're very beautiful people trying to follow their heart, and I don't think anything is more beautiful than that in life. I
That they do and their growth goes wrong. Maybe that kind of stuff.
come again. I think I kind of missed that.
Maybe like this can be like something like creator do that actually devalue their growth or hamper their growth, something kind of that.
I think what I've realized after speaking to so many creators is that consistency really matters a lot. So, so yeah, uh, it's nice to follow your heart, but it's important to be consistent as well. You know, you don't have to be always pitch perfect and all of that stuff, but be consistent. And this is true for most of the platforms that we've seen. But it's true for YouTube, it's true for Instagram, and most of the platforms. They value consistency very heavily.
So that's true. That's true. But even I was listening out to Ankur Wariku one time, and he also said like he's like first of all like the one of the ever consistent person I ever met or ever seen, because like everything is pre-scheduled and all of these things. But yeah, when he was telling about the consistency part too, he said like for a creator, the most for any other business you require maybe cash, capital, team as a currency in order to start with, in order to grow it.
Hmm.
But as a creator, you require time.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's where how long you can hold that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is very true. Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
100%, 100%. And we can do like 10-15 minutes more. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah. Like now coming out to the chill mode, we have talked about your journey, we have talked about the creator space. Most of the people are like listening to they may be wrong, they may not be wrong, all right, I'm not talking about anyone else, but hustle 24 hours.
Hmm.
What about chilling for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you, that's a very good one. So I'll tell you, I picked. So what I've come to realize for most of us is that we are very, very exceptionally bad at switching off. We are
Mm,
shit at switching off, and it's something we don't realize. But you talk to wives of most married entrepreneurs, and they'll tell you this guy doesn't know how to fucking switch off. Right, it's the utter bad, it's the biggest bug in our operating systems, right? So now, to answer your question becomes very tough, but what I've realized is that the best way for two entrepreneurs to chill is to chill with other entrepreneurs, and you know and where they can talk and discuss about their pain points and their gossips and all of that stuff. That I realize is chilling for entrepreneurs. Just
mm,
two, 5, 10 entrepreneurs just discussing. about their challenges and their problems, or just showing off their hacks, you know. I think at a place where they're not expecting anything, right?
Yeah,
That
that's the thing. That's a catch.
that's the catch. Because chilling, if you break down chilling also, you'll see that you stop expecting out of anything.
Yeah.
That is chilling, right? To be in a room or to be in a conversation where your desire is not to extract anything out of the other person. That I don't want his hacks, I don't want his money, I don't want his team, I don't want his ideas, I don't want his insights. I just want nothing from him. Just me and him are chilling, are here for the sake of being here. And we have no agenda. We might as well end up watching some random football match, or just sit in the space and do nothing, or talk about how should maybe the government is, or whatever that is, you know, of
Yeah.
wherever place that is. I'm not saying the government is shit. I'm saying whatever you feel about, as long as you're not expecting anything concrete out of it, just not expecting anything out of it. Yeah, I think that if you can, whoever makes with whoever you can do that, I think that's beautiful, like I had the I had the pleasure of being with some amazing musicians last night, like crazy musician, and that was fantastic for me. I was not expecting anything out there, and yeah, it just they were playing fantastic music, and me and my wife, who though are not talented enough to play music, we were just appreciating what they're doing. At
That's
the
so
same
cool.
time, it's very humbling, to see
Yeah.
people so talented and to see yourself so stupid. It's
Yeah, that's so cool. Sometimes having uh thinking uh doing some things which we do not expect from, that's really cool.
yeah,
Uh,
that's critical. I think
and
for me, that's the definition of chilling.
yeah, and actually, when you don't expect something from a thing, then you only get something.
And even
That
if you
would
don't
happen
get
to us.
something, that something might be nothing, and
Yeah.
so I'll give you an example, Himanshu. What I've come to realize, a blank canvas is the best painting, silence is the best music, and nothing is the best thing to have.
Hmm.
You know, but- and and that's about it. You know,
I got a line to add into the podcast with me.
no, there's no reason they say that minimalism. Why is minimalism the best? Because you
Yeah,
are at any moment of time, every every sensory input, if you look closely, is is a distraction, is a micro pain at the end of
yeah,
it. You are
yeah,
trying to kill all the sensory input.
exactly. That's true. That's true. That's true. There was one person like I listened to, and he teaches you how to focus.
Yeah,
So I just recall that when you were saying like sensory distractions and all of these things. So he asked one question like, you always chase like how to be focused, but you do not chase why you are distracted. So
exactly.
that's the thing. So he said like, we practice distraction every day, and the audience is like totally strange. How do we do that? He said, every time you are doing something, your phone rings and you get distracted. Every
Yeah,
time
yeah,
someone calls, you get distracted, and
yeah,
then you said you are need focus. You know,
yeah. So
the,
I cannot agree more with you. And I'll give you a hack on this. I so my phone never rings. Like,
same. I did it on silent from
yeah,
the past like 3 years now.
same here. My phone is perpetually silent except for except when my wife or my mother or my co-founder is calling.
For me, it's sometime, but yeah, most of them are silent only.
Yeah, so it's always on silent. It's like perpetually on silent, except for these three people. No, it cannot ring ever. So yeah, and I check emails once a week. So
Mm,
just for me also, I think I realized what you said is very beautiful, and it's critical to being there in the moment. Being fully there when I'm with you doing this podcast. The only thing I care about is being here in this moment. I don't have any. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't want to be bothered about it. I don't want to be bothered the fact that, oh, I have this and that. No, I want to be
Yeah,
here, right here, now, and offer my fullest in this experience.
that what makes things meaningful, I would say.
And fun. And
Yeah,
that's how you grow as a person, you know.
yeah,
That's when you expand.
that's true. That's true. So yeah, like we can go on like long, but for the audience, the average duration is not that much.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
we'll just,
true.
you know, uh, we'll keep the short and we'll end the podcast as of now. Might be we'll do it another future soon. But yeah, thanks for being on the podcast. I learned a lot from you, even in Bangalore too when we met.
No, thank you very much, Himanshu. Thank you. It was my first experience, you know, and I really loved it. I think it's so nice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. One more thing, like what you will recommend me to improve in my podcast? One thing.
That's a tough one because I think the approach that you're taking is fantastic, and I think just keep taking this approach. And I think if I were you, I would just invite the crazy ones. Just focus on craziness as you rightly are focusing on, you know, and or in fact, um, I would say that just follow your heart.
Mm,
Whatever your, you know, whoever you think should be a part of your podcast, invite them without any reservations. That is my podcast, you know, catering to this audience or that audience or not, you know.
mm,
So there is an unfiltered, unrestricted, pure version of you, uncorrupted, uninfluenced version of you.
yeah.
And there will be takers for that version of you.
Yeah. Mm,
So just
That's
offer that, you know, and all those takers of the pure version of you will come together for that
mm,
version of you.
that's true. That's true. That's really cool. Most people would sorry. Uh, the advice that generally we get, or like it's also cool, like having few technical things that should be corrected or things. But yeah, having more of oneself is the thing that ultimately people, you know even not people, but you feel fun about.
Yeah, if exactly, and nobody can compete at being you.
Yeah, exactly,
So you are guaranteed to win.
exactly,
Nobody can be better than you at being you, right?
exactly, exactly. That's where we don't expect anything.
Exactly. That's so beautifully put. That's where we don't expect anything. Yeah, that's
That's cool. So yeah,
and
it
maybe that's what these people call as the state of flow, you know.
yeah,
And that's the reason these people are so amazing, you know. These the Amitabh Bachchan, the A.R. Rahmans, Naval Ravikant, you know, Sachin Tendulkar, the gods, you know, people who just you see expressing themselves out there.
that's true. That's true. That's true. That's so cool. Yeah, but yeah, we'll have maybe in soon future we'll have another session or call. We'll have a candid conversation again over there too.
Absolutely, I would love to. You know, it's fun. You know, it's a new experience for me. I'm very grateful. You know, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Manchu.